Sarah, thank you so much for hopping on the Catalyst podcast. This is a podcast where I connect with VCs, founders, and people just working on really, really cool stuff. So the way that I even found you, I was just scrolling through Instagram and like you popped up on my For You page. Like it was like Georgia Tech, like they were highlighting your like a project that you work on. It was like the shoe, like a collaboration with Nike, which is super cool. And just to share about a little about you, so I went like on your LinkedIn to do some research. Like you've done a lot of cool projects, whether it's like various work for like NFTs, artwork for like unicorn startups, like 1 billion plus, and just like ad hoc projects. And you're doing what are you majoring in right now? It's computer science, was it? Or no,
Yeah.
yeah, computer science.
Computer science.
Yeah, so like you're doing a whole lot of stuff. You're on the creative side of things. You're on the like project management types of like stuff. You're really doing everything. So for this episode, the way I kind of wanted to talk about it is like your upbringing, like what got you involved in what you do and what you do and like why. So if you want, give us like a quick high level. Who is Sarah?
Sure. Okay, so I'm Sarah and I go by my artist name Zwist, and I'm from like the Midwest, so kind of in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. Let's see, I have a few siblings or just one sibling. I have a brother, and I've always been like somewhat an artist my whole life. I never really got into it until I think around middle school. So in middle school, everyone wanted to be a YouTuber because, you would watch their YouTube videos, their whatever video game let's plays, and I just thought it was so cool. Everyone else around me thought it was so cool. So I started my own YouTube channel. I think it was playing Roblox or something, and that kind of got me into like the social media side of things. I tried growing my YouTube channel, but I think after around like a few months, it kind of just stopped and I kind of gave up on that idea. But I never really like got over the idea of, oh, I want to build something, I want to make something cool. So
Yeah.
then I started playing this like video game Minecraft, and I was a fan of like YouTubers. They all have like their cool profile pictures, their banners, whatever. And if you want someone to make you something, you kind of have to pay them. And I was like, I think 11 or 12 at the time. And I didn't have, I guess, the money to like pay people to design stuff for me. So that's kind of how I started getting into design. I opened Microsoft Paint and I made like a very bad banner, but that was kind of like my entry into design. And then from there, I just started doing like almost like fan art for big YouTubers. I started a social media profile, growing my Twitter, and just from there, I started transitioning. Like I grew out the video game phase. I started transitioning into other aspects like esports, uh, doing work for a lot of like esport design teams, and just from that, I met a lot of people who were also working on cool things. So they were like designers in middle school, designers in high school, designers already in the industry, and I learned a lot from them. And then from there, I started transitioning into more illustration based and realized, oh, art is kind of what I really love to do. And then art was a hobby for a very long time, I think until high school. And the first year of college, I kept my art side very separate from what I was doing in real life. And then I think around the year 2020, I got more into selling my pieces as my personal art pieces. One of ones got into like the whole NFT Web3 spiel thing and got invited to a lot of galleries. So I think it was my freshman year of college where I got invited to my first gallery in New York. And that's when I had to go out in person and actually talk to people in real life at the gallery. And from there, I just started meeting a lot more people, getting cool opportunities to work on projects like Shoes with Nike or the album cover arts. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
just
amazing. Doing that as a freshman, like getting into art, like that's something. And
mhm.
even like in your bio, you said part time. Is it like part time student right now?
Right now I'm full time, but I took last semester off, and then the semester before that I was part-time student.
Were you like trying to focus completely on like the art side of stuff?
A bit. I just want to, like try things out since it's always been like, oh, school for fall, spring, and I did summer classes last year, and
Yeah.
I kind of didn't have that much time to do art. And then when I started getting like some cool opportunities, I
Yeah.
just wanted to try it out and see how
Yeah.
it was.
So why did you even when and why did you pick that artist name?
So it's kind of funny. I had a very cringy username in middle school, and one day I just thought I probably need a new one. And on the bus, I was like, "Oh, Twister sounds cool," but then that was it's pretty basic, and I went with Twister for a few years, but the name got a little bit too long, so I just shortened it to Zwist, and I just went with it ever since.
That's really cool. And what do you mean? What's your long term goal? Like, do you want to have your like do you always want to be like releasing new collections of like different art mediums, whether it be NFTs, like graffiti and that type of stuff, or is it like be a founder of like an art startup, or like what's your end goal long term?
I think my end goal is, let's see, I want to create art that's large scale, and I think most artists' dreams are being able to live off of your art and have it known by many people all over the world, have it in people's
Yeah.
houses, museums, so people can go and look at it. Because when I was doing my first galleries, it's really different from when you're working on a piece versus when you have it displayed up and then people are walking, looking at it. It's just really cool.
Yeah. Have you ever went to one of your galleries like with people not knowing like you're the person that made it and you just see people's reactions to that?
Yeah, I think my first one was kind of like that. It was because I didn't know anyone. It's my first one, and
Yeah.
it was my first time just like seeing people look at it. Like they were like kids, they were like families, and I just thought it was pretty different from like just drawing it on the screen and looking at it by myself, or like
Awesome.
posting it
Yeah.
online and letting online people see it.
So how do you even manage to do all this like while you're in college and because you're working with like really big musicians making their like album art, their cover art. Like how does that even happen? Do you reach out to them or do they come to you? What's that process look like?
A lot of it is networking, going to like art events. How I got into more like the murals side, I started volunteering at a mural project, being good friends with like directors of mural projects, meeting other artists, and when opportunities come their way or they need someone to do a project for something, they could either recommend me or I could hit them up saying, "Hey, I'm free this day. I could work on this." Or like, so the album cover opportunities, it came from also networking, like working with someone on one project and then hearing about a new project that comes through and then getting recommended for the project.
Very, very cool. And even like, how do you manage this, like even time wise? Because some people can't even just handle their own, just like their classes. Because you go to an amazing school and you have like obviously like a lot of schoolwork, but you also like do so much stuff outside of school with like your artwork. How do you manage like to have that time balance while always like spending time with family and friends?
To be completely honest, I don't put school as my top priority right now. Um, like when I go to class, I try to listen and then, I try to attend classes, try to do well in classes, but at the end of the day, I think what's most important is I get my degree and I will spend time to, pass exams and try to do my best. But I also realize not everything has to be like A's, not everything has to be 100% all the time. So I kind of manage my coursework that way. I kind of put my effort and time into my current priority right now. So sometimes when I get like a big opportunity, I would put more of my time into that. And let's say I have an exam coming up, I could try and get like 100% or like A's on that exam, but sometimes I tell myself, oh, I need to manage my time somehow. And I'm like okay with a B on the exam or a C sometimes.
Yeah, that's really really good advice. I mean, it really depends on the person because the last person I talked to on this podcast, she completely like left her college. She went to Princeton and she had an idea of like her own startup, so she just left college for 2 years just to start it, and like ever since like she hasn't looked back. So yeah, I think it just depends on the person like and their personal goals and like what's important to them. But like you found your passion. It's art, but like, still it's all about prioritizing the time. But something that's really cool that I want to talk about is your collaboration or like the work that you did for Nike. Share a little about that. How did that even come to fruition? Like it's such a cool project.
So I've been posting my work for a while. I've been like growing a following a little bit. And this was during senior year of high school where I came across this shoe company called Artifact. And they were just like a concept studio. They were making concept shoes, designing different types of, I guess, like unique shoes. And I just messaged them. I was like, hey, I'm an aspiring artist. I would love to work with you. Let me know if there's like any way we could collab. And surprisingly, they messaged me back. I don't know how, but it happened. And they're like, yeah, we'll bring you onto our next project. And at that time, Artifact was still a pretty small studio. They had like 12,000 followers on Twitter. Not many people knew about them. And I got roped into the next project, which was a project with like 19 different artists. And we all got to design our own shoe collection. And we could sell those in limited quantities. But then between those 2 years, they started growing really fast. They were actually acquired by Nike in 2021. So now they're part of Nike. And obviously, from that, they became a really big studio. So the project I was originally working on, making those like concept shoes, it got moved into Nike's department. And the template that we were originally using got scrapped. And then we got new templates for Air Force Ones. So that project kind of turned into an Air Force One project where we got to design a bunch of different Air Force Ones and sell them in as like a collectible. So I thought that was pretty cool.
No, it's super cool. And even the collection, like it's something about the metaverse, right? That was what the collection was behind.
It was so the shoes came in capsules. Each capsule has a random artist shoe in it. And I think that collection sold about $10 million in initial sales. And each one of the
Wow.
shoes I think are currently going for like 10,000. So it's
Wow.
a very limited collectible item
Wow.
versus more retail.
That's amazing. That's so sick. So is your goal to have like your own thing that's kind of like that the company that got acquired by Nike? Is your goal to have a company like that?
I think my goal is to be more of like an independent artist where instead of like starting my own company, I would probably base my company based on my current personal brand, like
Mm.
my brand's wrist. I want to grow that brand and do like collabs with maybe other companies. There's a artist
Yeah.
that I look up to, Murakami. He's been doing collabs for so many years. his work is all over the world. So I think my end goal is something similar to that.
Yeah. And you were working with like kind of NFTs. Was it during its peak or was it kind of like before or after, would you say?
So I got into NFTs in 2020 when they were just starting out,
Yeah.
and there's like perks to being early. You got
Yeah.
to like joining a lot of projects early, got to work on a lot of stuff, and then during the peak, I think 2021 was when everything just like more opportunities were just rolling in, everything got really big. And
Yeah.
now I'm somewhat still in the community, but I realize building something online is pretty different from, building your name locally and in real life. So I've been focusing more on the real life aspect.
Mhm. Yeah, because we live in Atlanta and there's like a lot of like graffiti and like physical art that's like in the kind of the culture here. So do you think NFTs have like a bright future or like what's your opinion on that?
So right now I'm very unsure of the future of the NFTs. At first in 2020 when everything was, like going, I was like, yeah, this is going to be huge. But then like 2020 when the market started going down a little bit, I realized, I should probably have a backup. Traditionally where artists they usually build their name up by doing galleries, murals, building their name in more the traditional way. So I still believe that NFTs are going to provide like a cool way to sell new art, but if that's like sufficient enough, I'm not sure. So I just want to have like the two options.
Yeah. It's 100%. Those are really valid points. I kind of want to go back in time when you were talking about how you were just messaging like different kind of like collectives, like the company that like got acquired by Nike. So you were just reaching out, like cold reach outs to a bunch of people, kind of just networking, saying, "Hey, I'm a high school student or college student. I want to work with you." Like, was it often that you actually got the reply, and how often were you even like sending those things out?
I think I was sending those things out maybe, let's see, at least like 10 times a week. That's how I got almost all of my opportunities, like talking to people, reaching out, applying for things, open calls. I would say in like maybe 30 responses or 40, maybe like 3 or 4 people would respond. The most successful way I found out was reaching out to people who are similar to you. So like already have work in that field, they know what they're doing. So like to find mural opportunities, I reached out to a bunch of muralists that were already in Atlanta. I asked them, how did you, get this opportunity? They'll send a bunch of resources my way. I'll try to go to some events and meet them. And Atlanta's art community is very like tight. And if there's any opportunities that comes their way, they will like share it with everyone. So that's how I found a lot of my opportunities.
Yeah, that's very valid because I feel like a lot of people when it comes to just reaching out, like they'll send like 50 texts and once they don't get those replies, they're not gonna do it again. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's about those people that they keep sending it out and they wait just for that one person because that one person that could reply can give you like an amazing opportunity. Like literally, if you were involved in like a $10 million project, like that's super cool. And like all this in college, right? Which is really insane.
Mm.
But like with art, do you think art like what's next for art? Like do you think there's gonna be like a really big thing that's coming up or is it just gonna be the same?
I can't. Okay, so like the thing is like similar to NFTs. What the future of NFTs? If I knew what was next for arts, I would be doing it already. But I really don't know what's next for arts. But I could definitely see like places where it's going to be improved. So how art is displayed in terms of technology, that's going to be improving massively. There's like different ways to make art, as you saw with current like AI. There's so many different ways to make art in like movies, effects. There's just like there's just like new ways that are popping up. And I think the next thing for art is when someone finds another way to kind of make this art or display it. Because with NFTs, the concept was how could I make online art unique and instead of displaying the art as a just like a printed out or a physical thing that's not moving on a wall. At the MoMA, there was this huge NFT art installation that has a really cool 3D LED screen, and that was kind of like a very new way to display arts. And
Yeah.
with like current technology, you can make like holograms and just huge. Have you seen like the concert backgrounds images, like the concert visuals? Those are
Yeah.
like those are improving really cool, like fastly. And
Yeah.
I definitely think like what's next for art is just new ways to make art or new ways to display arts.
100%. That's really cool. And what are your thoughts on AI's like effect on art? Because some people are like really disagree, and they're like AI shouldn't touch or get near art because it's kind of like disrespecting artists in a way. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's like beneficial for art or is it negative?
I think AI is pretty beneficial for arts. Some people see it as a threat to, like if you're trying to break into the industry, people are like, oh, why do I need to hire this person instead of just generating this for free? Um, I see AI as like a way to generate new ideas, get things done faster, but also I don't see it as a threat that much because when you develop like a unique style, you develop something that's recognizable, and I can't really steal that from you. Because AI can copy you, but AI can't, take your brand away. They can't take your name away.
100%. What are your tips for someone that's like building their personal brand, whether it be in art, content creation, or whatever it is? Like, how do you distinguish yourself from others digitally and through your product, whether it's art or whatever it is? Because like obviously, like when I go to your page, Zeus, like it's like I could see that's your page. You know what I mean? So if someone reposts you, I don't even need to see the account name for me to tell. Like, yeah, that's like something Sarah would post. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's finding something unique. Don't try to copy other people too much. And a lot of it is just like trial and error because I didn't really come up with my style or my brands until, as I say, like freshman year of college. I just kept trying different things. I was like doing portraits for a long time. I was doing game art for a long time. And then one day I decided, oh, I'm gonna make something that's more personal, that's more me. And I just tried a bunch of different things. And something else that's really important is just to be consistent because everyone I've known from 2017 or 2018, if they've been consistent with me, they're doing pretty good currently. And like being consistent, you can't fail. You can only grow from there, maybe slowly, but you can't really go backwards unless you stop posting or you stop creating.
Mhm. It's amazing advice. And what did it take for you to like get out your comfort? Like, was it easy for you to just start posting and releasing your art? Because some people like they're really shy or they kind of feel uncomfortable to share their stuff to the world, even though like some of their stuff is really great, right? Like, what steps did you take to kind of go out your comfort zone and release that thing that you've always wanted to release?
So I've been anonymous, or I've been like releasing my arts online since middle school. So it's been a really long time. And I kind of led like a double life then when I had like an anonymous online profile and then me in real life that no one knows that I'm connected to this art account. So if you're uncomfortable with kind of like sharing your arts that's linked to you, you could always just be anonymous. Just make like accounts that no one knows about and then start posting your arts on there. And I think once you get more comfortable, like going to galleries, talking to people who are similar to you, like even talking to another artist in real life, it's really different from just like talking to someone who appreciates art because like talking to another artist, they kind of know what goes into arts. They could give you advice or you just have so much in common. And just from there, it kind of helps someone like transition into showing their art more. They realize showing people their art is not embarrassing. It's pretty cool. And like seeing other people's reactions kind of helped me make the leap into kind of like showing my face more or doing more real life events.
100%. Well, let's start wrapping up since we only have like a couple more minutes left for the recording. So for this next segment, it'll be quick fire. So I'm gonna ask you a bunch of quick questions and you try to answer as quick as possible. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Favorite book?
I read a book in a long time. Pixar's Color Split.
Favorite artist?
Desperish probably, or Sam Smith.
Who do you look up to?
I look up to my current peers around me who are also working towards my same goal.
What's the biggest piece of advice, or what's the best piece of advice someone's given you?
Just keep posting, keep putting your work out there.
What's the worst piece of advice someone's given you?
You should make your art for free.
What's next for Zooist?
Next, I am currently working on the next album cover for Epic. That's going to be released April 26th.
What's one piece of advice for someone that's still a freshman in college starting out and they want to start their own journey?
Just start building, just start putting your work out there, and whatever idea you have, just start it now. And because in a few months from now or a year from now, you're gonna be like, oh, I wish I started that earlier.
What's been your most proud achievement?
Painting the mural in Alchemy's New York office.
What's your most favorite piece of art that you've worked on?
I think it's the Dimension of Dreams, which was my very first viral piece.
Who's one artist that you would say taught you the most?
I say like Philip Urick. He's a landscape artist, and I did a mentorship through him, or a lot of just my just the art community in general. It's a lot of different people who have taught me different things, and they've added up.
Cool. Well, that was the quick fire segment. One more segment before we go. So what I do with people that are either working on their own thing or that are student founders, what we do is like I set a timer for 3 minutes and we like try to build an idea for a project. Okay, so I don't know how much time we have left on the thing, but with whatever time we have, this is like to promote students to start building their own thing. We're gonna think of something to work on, and then like make a quick plan on how we should start. Okay, so
Okay.
3, 2, 1. What should we start on? What's our project?
Wait, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
What's a project we should work on? Like, what's an idea you've always like what's a simple idea we should start working on?
This is hard. We should make a gun that blasts out paint in different segments to make paintings. I don't know.
That's cool. That's a good idea. And then, so is it just for other artists to use, or is it like a piece of art with like a message? It could be something about like gun control, maybe. That could be like the art piece. Then we can make a bunch of videos or something, or no? Or is that a bad idea?
Maybe like something that shoots a bunch of paint out really fast would be cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that would be cool. You know that guy on TikTok that like has like a pendulum with like a bunch of paint, and he
Mhm.
just moves it around. You know what I'm talking about? That's cool. That'd be similar. Okay, so that's our idea then. We're gonna make a gun that shoots a bunch of paint. What's the next step? What should we do to design and make this?
I think find the target market, and if it's going to be like abstract artists or just it might be a new tool to make art with. You don't know.
Yeah. All right, so I guess let's get like a bunch of market research. Let's contact all the abstract artists we know, and we'll see what they think about the idea
Yeah.
and their experience with like other products like this.
The paint
Sounds good.
master.
Yeah. Also, what's the name of our product? What's the name of this machine? Gotta make a
Paint,
name for it.
paint master.
Paint Blaster. I like it. Hey, it's simple, memorable, and quick. All right, that's our company. Thank you so much, Sarah, for hopping on the pod. You dropped a lot of gems for everyone listening. We hope you enjoyed. Give a subscribe, follow, whatever you're listening to. And if you have any more questions, I'm gonna link all of her contacts. So feel free to text her, or sorry, or to hit her up and ask her for any questions that you have. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Thank you for having me on this podcast. I really enjoyed, talking about my journey, and I really hope this inspires people to, start doing what they want to do and, just be consistent and, you know, hopefully you guys can find success in that also.
100%. Awesome. All right, is it still recording? Is it done?
I just